All right, illumination. Lots of different options here. You have headlamps, flashlight, solar options, okay? I recommend a headlamp first and foremost because you can be hands-free. So if you're using it as your light to cook or do things, or God forbid, in case of an emergency, you're hands-free and taking care of that, okay? The BioLite headlamp that I'm showing in the bottom left corner is my hands down favorite headlamp. And if you're going to invest in one, this is my recommendation. Illumination is based on lumens. The more lumens, the brighter the light. I recommend not buying anything that doesn't have a red light in it. When you are in the backcountry, all the bugs are out and you have your headlamp on. If you have just that white light, the bugs are attracted. If you have a red light, so you have the option of either or, you have a red light, you can avoid those bugs but still use your headlamp to see something. So that's my recommendation. Flashlights are great as well. Please don't use your phone as your flashlight anytime in the backcountry. Don't want to run into any issues there. Solar, so there's lots of solar light options. So those are what you'll notice in that grass picture. So with those solar light options, these are things that charge while you're backpacking through the day and then you can turn on. They help light up camp. You can do lots of different colors. They're very lightweight. So think of these as inflatable lanterns, okay? Super fun, great to have, lightweight and easy. Some can be used to charge your phone as well, so look into some of the cool options there. I usually have a headlamp as well as one of these solar lights because I like to read at night, and the solar lights in my tent are much nicer than wearing a headlamp. Another big question you'll ask yourself is, do I want something that's rechargeable or do I want something that has batteries? If it's rechargeable, you want to make sure that it's charged when you leave for your trip, and you probably, depending on how long you're in the backcountry, you want to have some way of recharging it in the backcountry, which is a whole nother solar power discussion. If you have batteries, you always want to make sure to start with fresh batteries and have an extra set of batteries as well. I'm typically someone who lends myself to the rechargeable because the batteries are only good for me if I'm only in the backcountry for a few days. Okay. After that, I want to have that rechargeable option. As far as attire goes, we really want to make sure that we dress for success. The clothes that we wear are very important. We want to avoid cotton as much as possible because it absorbs water and or sweat or whatever the case may be and doesn't wick it away. Now, there is some reason to believe that cotton would be nice in hot climates because when it holds on to the moisture, it actually, the reason our body sweats is to keep us cool, right? To bring our temperatures down. So if we can hold on to our sweat in our cotton shirts or pants, it would keep us cooler. But from a winter standpoint, we definitely want to avoid cotton all the way down to our undergarments. So we have 3 layers when we're talking about the backcountry. I'm only showing pictures of the top layer, but the same thing goes for your bottom layers as well. You have your base layer, which is what's touching your skin. That's your wicking layer, okay? So speaking more for when it's cold, but your wicking layer is taking the sweat and moisture away from your body, okay? Your warmth layer is what you put on that is insulated in some form or an extra layer. So maybe this is a fleece, trying to avoid those cotton, really light sweatshirts. Maybe this is a down jacket, something that keeps you warm but doesn't necessarily protect you from the elements. Your shell or your outer layer is going to protect you from the elements, all right? So always in the backcountry, in the Sierra, we want to have some sort of waterproof, at least top layer. And this is for several different reasons. It can be very windy. We can have, in the summer times, we can have thunderstorms, and you could get caught where you're going to get soaked, okay? Be able to put that on. It's warmer at night because it helps keep your warmth in and can't be broke by the wind. And it's also a nice protection from all the mosquitoes that can be in the backcountry. As far as footwear is concerned, there's lots of different options. We want to avoid those Nike Frees as best as we can. And the reason that I say that is because they don't have a strong sole And so after 2 miles, it's no big deal. But after 5, 6, 7, 15 miles, we start to feel every rock under our foot if we don't have that stable sole of our shoe. Okay? There are hiking boots, and these can be in the form of ankles. These can be in the form of high ankle shoes. But I typically recommend that people look into trail runners. They're a nice mixture between a Nike Free and the typical tennis shoes that we would wear, and something that's more durable for the backcountry, okay, and that unstable ground. When you're buying shoes, you want to make sure the first time you're buying a set of backpacking shoes that you go into, I recommend REI, but you go into some sort of footwear specialist and you have them actually size you, and you don't worry about the brand, but you pick the shoe that's best for you. So certain brands will have a bigger toe box, will be for longer toes, or for longer feet, or for wider feet. And you almost always want to buy a size to a size and a half bigger, because when you're up at elevation, when you're hot, when you're hiking, your feet tend to swell. Okay? Socks, no cotton socks, want to wick away, so we want wool or synthetics. I swear by sock liners. I have never had a blister since I started using not only sock liners, but toe sock liners. I know, sounds super cool, but it keeps all the moisture off my feet and allows my feet to be protected. Gaiters are a way to protect yourself. There's ankle gaiters all the way to the ones that are on the screen. This protects you from snow. This protects you from water. This protects you if you're going through a very dirty, dry area, to keep dirt out of your shoes. So there's just a nice little fun tool to have in your toolbox if you ever need something. We're going to kind of keep going here, but into communication. So I told you I would highlight this. So there are SOS signals that you can send, which is this spot device, okay? And that's something went wrong. I need to send an SOS, and it'll ping to the nearest ranger station, and they will send someone to help you, and this will have your location where you are. But all you can do from this device is send an SOS signal, or tell someone that you're okay. Send one-way messages. You can also send your GPS to people. And some of these devices, and this is the Generation 3, so it does this, some of these devices will still track you on GPS, and you can look at what you did later as well. But what you'll notice is you only have that one-way communication. Other options, like the one on the right, is your Garmin InReach, okay? And this is a two-way communication device, but it's also a GPS tracker. And with this two-way communication device, you can send an SOS signal, but then you can have direct back and forth communication via text message through your Garmin with your rescue team. This is what's recommended by Search and Rescue, and the reason is because there's a huge difference between a boulder fell on my arm and my hiking partner had a heart attack, as far as who needs to come to rescue you and what they need to be prepared for. So they're seeing that they're finding a lot more success in the rescues for people that have these two-way communication devices. From a GPS standpoint, you can track yourself, you can see the trails, and have that. The nice thing about the Garmin, not to try and sell it to you, but you can either pay for a year's subscription, or you could pay per month that you use it. And there's 4 different options. One as low as $15, one as high as $65 a month, okay? Finally, the two-way communication for that device doesn't stop with Search and Rescue. You can send messages directly to friends and family back home, and also post to social media. You can't do two-way on social media, but you can post your location and say what you're doing. So lots of neat things. Super essential if you're going to be in the backcountry. I recommend this to everyone. It's a little bit of an investment up front, but it's saving a lot of lives. Packs. Not going to spend a ton of time here on packs, because I'm going to talk about this in trip logistics, okay? So with packs, there's a difference between men and women. They're geared all based on liters, which is how you're going to talk about size, okay? And then you're going to look at the different features of these things. The reason I'm going to talk about this in trip logistics is because the size of your pack and what you're carrying in your pack has to do with the trip you're going on itself. So it makes more sense to talk about it there. But you'll notice that a lot of things have to fit into your pack, and so you want to have a system in place for this.